Have you ever noticed that the person who speaks the least in a room often commands the most attention? It's a paradox that has frustrated leaders, thinkers, and ambitious minds for centuries. Why is it that when we try to explain ourselves, when we try to justify our actions or win others over with our words, we often end up feeling weaker, as if our very authority is draining away with every syllable? Most people believe that to be seen as powerful, they must be vocal, transparent, and always available. They think that clarity is strength. But history's most ruthless strategist, Niccolò Machiavelli, knew something most people ignore: your words are your most finite resource, and every time you speak unnecessarily, you are leaking power. Silence isn't just a lack of sound, it is a strategic vacuum that pulls the world toward you. But what if the secret to gaining total control isn't in what you say, but in the calculated silence you leave behind? Silence is a tool of the elite, a weapon used to disarm opponents before a single move is even made. When you remain silent, others feel an uncontrollable, almost primal urge to fill the space you've created. They become uncomfortable in the void, and in that discomfort, they begin to reveal their true intentions, their deepest fears, and their hidden weaknesses. Machiavelli observed the courts of Renaissance Italy, where a single misplaced word or a poorly timed boast could lead to exile, ruin, or worse. He saw that the most effective rulers were those who kept their counsel close and their expressions unreadable. By saying less than necessary, you appear more profound and far more unpredictable. Think about the people you admire or fear, they are rarely the ones chattering in the corner. When someone is predictable, they are manageable. When they are silent, they are a mystery. And human nature is inherently terrified of what it cannot understand or categorize. Have you considered that your transparency might actually be your greatest liability in professional negotiations and personal conflicts? We live in an age of radical oversharing, where the pressure to be authentic forces us to broadcast every thought. We post our goals, our breakfast, and our opinions on everything to an audience that doesn't truly care. But in the realm of power, transparency is a leak in your armor. When you tell everyone your next move, you invite them to judge it, to compete with it, or to sabotage it before it even begins. Machiavelli argued that a prince must be a fox to recognize traps and a lion to frighten wolves. A fox doesn't bark before it leaps. By keeping your plans in the dark, you prevent others from building defenses against you. Silence acts as a shield, protecting your intentions until the moment of execution. This is the law of silence. It is not about being quiet for the sake of it, but about being strategically invisible until it is too late for anyone to stop you. But there is one specific type of silence that can make even your most bitter enemies work for you without them even knowing it. This brings us to the art of strategic listening. Most people listen only to wait for their turn to speak, they are merely reloading their verbal weapons. The Machiavellian strategist, however, listens to gather intelligence. By letting others talk, you gain a map of their mind. You learn what motivates them, what they value, and what they are desperately trying to hide. In the silence between your questions, people will often hand you the very tools you need to influence them. It's a subtle form of dominance. You aren't forcing them to do anything, they are simply offering you the keys to their own kingdom because they can't stand the quiet. The less you say, the more they talk. The more they talk, the more power shifts to your side of the table. Imagine if you could win an argument without saying a single word, how would that change your daily interactions? There is also the power of the vague answer. In a world that demands clear, yes or no responses, the person who remains ambiguous holds all the cards. Ambiguity keeps people guessing. It forces them to interpret your stance, and often, they will interpret it in a way that favors their own hopes, making them easier to lead. When you are asked a direct question that seeks to pin you down, a short, enigmatic response can be far more effective than a lengthy explanation. Explanations are often seen as excuses or signs of insecurity. Silence is seen as absolute confidence. When you stop explaining yourself, you stop seeking permission from the world. You stop being a subordinate and start being a presence. But what happens when silence is used against you? There is one defense that Machiavelli swore by to maintain your standing. The ultimate goal of the law of silence is to become the master of your own narrative. When you leak information, you lose control of how you are perceived. But when you are silent, you become a canvas upon which others project their respect and fear. It is a tool of self-preservation in a world of predators. In the high-stakes games of life, those who talk the most are usually the ones with the least to lose, or the most to hide. By reclaiming your silence, you reclaim your dignity and your authority. You stop being a noise in the background and start being the one who dictates the tempo of the room. Remember, a word once spoken can never be taken back, but a word held back is a weapon kept in reserve. So, the next time you feel the urge to fill a silence or explain your motives, stop. Breathe. Let the silence do the work for you. Because in the game of power, the loudest person in the room is often the weakest, and the one who says nothing is the one holding all the cards. Are you ready to stop leaking power and start commanding it?